At the halfway point of the season, Honda's Chase Sexton has the points lead in the 450 class of Pro Motocross. But the 23-year-old rider is feeling pressure from veteran Yamaha rider Eli Tomac, who has closed within 1 point after scoring 3 consecutive wins. 450 Moto 1 from Spring Creek is ready for gate drop.
We've entered the second half of the 12-round Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. It's the Frascados Tortillas Spring Creek National. We talk 450 class here in Pro Motocross, and right now we're talking Eli Tomac. 5 straight Moto wins, 3 straight weekend overall victories. He is absolutely on a roll in pursuit of his 4th 450 Motocross National Championship, but he is not the points leader yet. Scratching and clawing at the lead that Chase Sexton had built up early in the year, and we are down to just 1 point between 2 riders at the halfway mark. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, joined by the 2-time AMA National Champion Jeremy Martin. Doesn't get much better than a points race that close halfway through.
Yeah, we're round 7, 1 point apart. Eli's on a run. Chase was fastest in practice. I think we're set up for a good day today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And we'll show you how it looks here with our MX versus ATV Legends track map.
Here we are at the bottom of Mount Martin. Really want to get a clean drive up this thing. It is absolutely wide open on a 250 to get this triple up the hill. And then if you can, you try to shift and you're just full gas up this thing. And then you round the turn, and here we are, man. All of Mount Martin as fast as you can go, navigating the rough terrain here all the way to the bottom.
And that's Mount Martin. And that's we got you on the gameplay here, Jeremy.
Yeah, looking good. FXR gear.
All right. That's your MX versus ATV Legends track map. Let's get ready to go with the first 450 moto of the day. Here's the points. As we mentioned, the 1 point gap between Sexton and Tomac. And Ken Roxon, Jason Anderson, and the rest have fallen pretty far adrift, so it's essentially a 2-rider championship fight with a lot of other spoilers in the mix, which will make the racing that much more intriguing. A lot of different riders feel they can win today, and they could be stealing points away from each other, including one of the riders who would love to get a victory. He's back in his home state since coming out of retirement for the first time, Ryan Dungey. Talk to him when we return.
Ryan Dungey. Yep.
Delivers. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
Got the GoPro course preview here, courtesy of Justin Barsha from qualifying earlier, throwing it sideways, of course. That's the way Barsha does it, J. Mark.
Yeah, we like a Barsha GoPro. We can really hear them revs going on.
No doubt.
There he is, full gas, wide open down there. What a great shot. Just seeing him full off the gas, off the brakes, full send down the downhill.
Yeah, super steep hill. So that's your GoPro course preview, courtesy of Justin Barsha. Big story today is the return of Ryan Dungey, and when he decided to return to racing after a 5-year hiatus into the sport, he was treading into uncharted territory, but that really has been Ryan Dungey his whole career, exceeding expectations on his way to becoming one of the best ever.
Ryan Dungey didn't have piles of trophies or titles as an amateur, but Suzuki team manager Roger DeCoster saw something in him that everyone else missed. The Minnesota rider won the first AMA Supercross race of his career, proving his potential. He became a weekly podium and race win threat in the 250 class, culminating in 2009 when he outlasted Christophe Pourcel in a tight and contentious fight to claim the 250 National Motocross Championship. In 2010, Dungey took his career to another level, jumping up to the 450 class with immediate success, capturing both Supercross and Motocross titles for Suzuki as a rookie. 2 years later, Dungey, DeCoster, and Ian Harrison would all move to KTM and immediately revamp the brand's fortunes. Dungey would earn 2 more 450 national championships in 2012 and 2015. By the time he called it a career, Dungey would sit second in most major statistical categories for all-time 450 motocross success. This season, Dungey was set to be a surefire first-ballot AMA Hall of Famer. But one of the most consistent riders in the history of the sport decided to come out of retirement and compete again in 2022. From the couch to the top 5, and it should not be a surprise, because Dungey already went from overlooked amateur to one of motocross racing's greatest champions.
That's the MX versus ATV Legends bio. Minnesota's own Ryan Dungey, you know him well.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Spun a lot of laps here as an amateur back in the day, and I'd like to see some big things today. I'm really rooting for him.
Yes, you and a lot of others here at Millville. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas.
Eli Tomac has been on a roll. He's won 5 motos in a row in the last 3 overalls. Now the biggest change has been his starting position. And one thing I want to note, he's one of the only riders today that is stuck with the Dunlop scoop tire, which you can see here. So obviously he knows how important that start is.
All right, a lot happening for Eli Tomac right now. We'll talk about the tire choice in a moment, but we also want to give a shout out. He's already won the Monster Energy Supercross Championship this year, and for that he's been nominated for a ESPY Award for Best Athlete in Men's Action Sports. So if you're watching right now, you can scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to your opportunity to vote. That's big for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely went there and voted, so hope everybody watching, go do the same.
That's right. Let's pump motocross and supercross up. Let's talk scoop tire. It's good for the start, but maybe a compromise on other parts of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it looks like my dad put some dozer berms and stuff in there, so hopefully that'll kind of help open up the track. But if you can get a good start, you can ride your lines, you're in a pretty good spot.
All right, that's KTM keys to the moto. Clean start, that line awareness. We saw it catch a couple 250 riders out on that first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to be aware of, you know, they put a little bit of water down, the lines change, so just be aware.
Here it is, Moto 1 of the 450 class. And Dungey looking good, going to get squeezed from the inside. Joey Savacci, Eli Tomac going for it. Then Ken Roxon is in there as well. Savacci is credited with the whole shot, but Tomac's quickly into the lead.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for Eli to get a good start, that's a good deal.
Well, might be scoop tire helping there. Other riders running a more intermediate. Looks like you've got Sexton and Dungey in the picture as well as we head into the Sam Whoops. But right now, Savacci's second, and Tomac already trying to get away. There is Dungey in third, putting pressure on Savacci. He wants to go with Tomac. And Sexton's there as well.
Yep, he's putting pressure on, trying to move forward.
But an alarming early lead already for Tomac. It's got to be over a second, and we're only about a third of the way around the first lap. And Dungey's got heat now from Sexton. Well, you know Dungey wants to bring it today with the crowd cheering for him, and he did the first job. He got the good start. As they come back downhill, they're starting to reel Tomac in a little bit. That Jason Anderson finally getting a good clean first lap. Haven't seen that in a while.
Ooh, Dungey makes a mistake there coming out of the turn.
And just like that, Sexton is into third. Oh, Dungey pushing hard. And we've seen a couple of mistakes from him. Definitely not characteristic of the multi-time champ. He's going right back after Sexton. Banked off that wall, the top of the hill, almost got Sexton back. He's going for it.
Yeah, he's going for it. Maybe he could... Oop.
Almost had a line there on the inside, didn't work. Now they catch back up to Savacci, who is in second. Oh, another mistake for the number 5. But he's able to reel Sexton back in pretty quick.
Yeah, they're pretty tight right now.
Anderson 5th, Barsha 6th, then Craig Roxon, Alex Martin, it's your brother there in 9th, and Plessinger 10th. So not a good start for a man who was on the podium last week with Aaron Plessinger. Sexton knows what he's got to do. He's putting in a hard charge to go after Savacci. And Savacci hard running in second. Oh, trying to stay with this battle. Let's see if Sexton can get it done.
Oh, and Joey goes down.
Woo! Oh, that was a tough break there. Almost went over the high side. That could have really hurt. And that's going to be about 10th place going by with Freddie Noren and Alex Martin. Man, it could change in a hurry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What a bummer for Joey. Awesome start. There's a hard base to this track, and unfortunately, as you can kind of see, it kind of caught Joey off guard.
So that allows Sexton to get what he wants, which is second, and focus in on Tomac. Anderson has taken the measure of Dungey. That is third for the Monster Energy Kawasaki rider as we head through the Sam Whoops. sent it down to Jason Thomas.
Well, you saw Joey Savacci go down there, and I watched him in the 250 start. He was watching Justin Cooper's gate like a hawk. You saw him go to the exact same gate and rip a great start there, so he was on to something early on that gate position.
It's unfortunate that that's up in smoke now. Savacci going to be outside of the top 10 because of the crash. We can show it to you here with a replay in just a moment. So here's Savacci under pressure from Sexton.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just comes in right here, and as you can kind of see right here, he has really nothing to kind of bank off of, and you can just see the front tire push, and he put his foot down, and he tried to save it. He put a lot of effort in. Unfortunately, it just got him.
All right, so no berm to bank off of there in the line he chose, and that was the end for the 17. We'll see if Sexton can make a run at Tomac. Dungey trying to hang on to Anderson for third. Ken Roxon is down.
No. What an odd place to go down. I'm curious to see if maybe we could get that on camera and see what happened.
Right, backwards on the track, so he's looking for a whole bunch of space so he can do a U-turn. Finally gets to do it, and he is going to end up, man, not quite last place, but that's a 55. That's Rodbell. That is 23rd place for Roxon. 23rd. And he usually does his best work early in the races, so this is going to be a completely different situation. I'll tell you what, we have seen things go sideways for Roxon far too often at Millville. Last year at a first turn crash, didn't finish a moto and then came back to win Moto 2.
You're right. I definitely remember that last year. He had a nasty first turn crash.
Sexton is doing it. He's trying to bridge the gap to Tomac. It's the battle we wanted to see.
Exactly. This is definitely the battle we wanted to see. And Eli, you got Eli out front. Chase is able to see what he's got going on. Maybe he can learn some lines. Maybe we see kind of a yo-yo effect go on, just like Moto 1 in the 250 class with the Lawrence brothers.
That'd be good if we can have them hook it up. The Beta Motorcycles drone cam. Remember, Tomac picked the full scoop, the more sand mud tire, the Dunlop MX14, and that was definitely better for the start, and it worked. He got out front early. But we'll see now if the intermediate tire maybe comes into play. Does the track get harder as the moto goes on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're starting to see the track firm up definitely more as time goes on. I was a little surprised to see Eli pick the scoop, but obviously, you know, he must have been really thinking about that start, and I guess it paid off for him so far, and, you know, Chase is right there.
Eli has won every moto in which he has led this year. It's really hard to overcome him later in the races. It's still pretty early right now, and Sexton is doing it. He is hanging it out, and he is closing the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting a little loose there coming up the top over Mount Martin.
He's got to do it. 5 moto wins in a row for Eli. Sexton knows points lead could switch hands here if Tomac gets the victory.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure to be able to train with the Tomac family, and I've learned a lot of things from Eli and just how his racecraft and the things he thinks about when he's riding, and how he's able to conserve energy throughout the moto and stuff like that. It's truly it's very impressive.
Well, I'm glad you bring that point up, because we always see him so strong late, and a lot of that gets chalked up to fitness. But how much of it is that, and how much of it is riding within himself early in the moto?
I think he's really good at managing that.
Yeah.
John Tomac, obviously trained with him. He taught me quite a bit over the years when I was there, and as you can see, Eli got a little loose going down that downhill, but he's such a strong guy who's able to save it. But going back to John Tomac, I learned a lot from him, and as you can see, I think Eli, he's under good tutelage.
Oh yeah, and that's what's led to 4 national championships, 3 in this class, and also this year's Monster Energy Supercross title. But Sexton has to shrug all those credentials off. You see the opportunity there if you want to vote for Tomac, the ESPY Award for Best Athlete in Men's Action Sport. Just scan that QR code there. But you definitely want to keep watching this action, because Sexton is giving it everything he has to close in on the number 3. Great effort from Sexton, because he has to turn the momentum back. That's hard to do.
Yes, absolutely. You know the points are tight. You know that each one of them are trying to make a statement right now, and we expect this to kind of be a drag out, wouldn't you say?
Oh, that's what you're hoping for. Sexton just inching up on Tomac right now as they head back uphill. And they have pulled well clear of Anderson and the rest of the field. It'll be Anderson and then Dungey.
That's a cool shot. You're able to see the braking bumps going down into that single right there, and you're able to see the lines. I mean, Eli took a really smooth line right there. Chase was a little further out, trying to do something a little bit different, not following, and just kind of experimenting with the track, and maybe that'll play to his advantage later on.
Yeah, Sexton is getting a first-hand look at all the lines of Eli Tomac. It's not normal to see this situation. Tomac usually not the rider that's leading. He's usually the rider doing the chasing earlier in the race, but it's a little bit different here. Sexton in second. Let's send it back down to Jason Thomas.
Really from the tire, I was saying that I think he's having to be a little bit less aggressive than he'd like to be. You can watch Sexton, he's pushing, he's able to take different lines. Tomac's having to stay in the berm almost everywhere because of that scoop tire, so that's a little bit of the compromise. He got the great start, but now he's having to deal with that tire on the rest of the racetrack.
Thanks, JT. Yeah, talk about having to stay in the berm and why did he have to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like as JT would probably say, the way the scoop is, it gives you a lot of drive in very soft conditions, and he kind of needs that fluff.
Yeah. It's designed to stay in the soft stuff.
Absolutely.
So is he trying to just find that soft stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's kind of gravitating towards it a little bit. Probably maybe finds a little bit more traction on the side of the tire there.
We have set up a great battle between the riders fighting for the championship. It's a story we've told all year. You've got 29-year-old Eli Tomac, 4-time national motocross champ, 2-time supercross champ. As you watch Anderson and Dungey is the next battle on track. That would be third and fourth. So you've got the very experienced and championship-proven Tomac against the 23-year-old Sexton who's never won a national title. And he's trying to be the leader of the next generation, but he's got to go through Tomac to do it. No easy task. So we head back uphill. You almost feel like same thing we saw with the Lawrence brothers. They're a little chess match here. Are we seeing the best of either rider, or are we almost in a feeling each other out and watching the lines sector of the race? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think they're obviously both trying really hard right now. They're both kind of feeling each other out. They're almost in the middle of the moto now, and there's a lot of racing left yet. So I think you know, I'm sure they got another gear, but this is their consistent race pace.
Okay, so we'll see how this transpires. Sexton has done what he needed to do. He's essentially reeled Tomac in and gotten into striking distance. Just out of the roost zone right now. So we go down Mount Martin. Oh, that was nice right there from Eli.
Yeah, very nice turn. Both feet up on the pegs, standing up, and then just really carries a lot of momentum around that outside and that dozer berm.
You talk about the dozer berms. You were watching that when we saw some of the shots during the sight lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a good old fresh dozer berm. You can really get in there, especially in the beginning stages of the race. Jason, when they water the track, it's easy to know. When the berm is really super tall, you can know you can go in a little bit harder, and you can really trust on banking off that dozer berm.
But does that go away as the race goes on?
Yes, absolutely, it goes away. So, and I think you tend to sometimes see when they get blown out, the lap times tend to drop a little bit too.
Yeah, so we think the guys are getting tired, but a lot of times the lines just don't. The lines go away. And by the way, Tomac has stretched it here a little bit on Sexton. Sexton is hanging it out, man. You can see the urgency. Does not want Tomac to go 6 straight moto wins. Here's the next group.
Hey, this is a good battle starting to brew right here. You think Dungey's getting cheers as he goes around the track?
For sure, and I think he's determined. He wants the podium today so bad. He does not want to let Anderson go.
Absolutely. I mean, it's his hometown race. I mean, there's no better place to get the first podium of the year.
Then next up, I believe that'd be Craig. That's another Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing machine. Then Barsha. Give you the rest of this field. That would be Plessinger. Yep. Plessinger started about 10th, so he's made up a couple of spots. Of course, we did have Savachi up there earlier, but he crashed. Good run here by Freddie Noren, the BBMX KTM. And there is Savachi trying to recover. So good to see Noren back. He had back issues dating back to our 3rd round of the series in Colorado. Getting back on the motorcycle here. Oh, there's Big Al.
We got the troll train.
Okay,
Our
Alex
Charger.
Martin. All right, he's going for it with Savachi.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, so it's your brother Alex, and he has announced he's going to retire at the end of this season, so it could be the last Millville National. Certainly he could come back here for a one-off, but it's at least scheduled to be his last time at Millville. He's going for it.
Yeah, hopefully he puts all that effort into it, and all the fans are cheering him up along the way, and it can be the season best performance.
Now, how did you play it today? Did you go and visit Big Al today, or you leave him to his own?
You know, he's been doing this quite a while. You know, he knows that I'm supporting him no matter what. I'm here watching him right now with you, and we're talking about him, but he knows what to do, and he's got a good crew of people there at the Club MX Muck-Off. team. So yeah, just letting him do his deal.
Okay, he's under pressure now. Right now, you got Max Anstey in the Firepower Honda there. So Alex Martin, yes, announcing his retirement. We had a chance to talk to him about this earlier.
My longtime coach and trainer, John Wesley, and I, we started troll training a few years ago. And yeah, so that's done really well, and I'd like to continue growing that. You know, I plan to go get some education, right? Because you know I'm a motocross racer, so I want to keep learning on the health and fitness side of it, and you know, just trying to share my 15+ years of experience with the sport, and just try and continue growing that side of it too. And it's been really fun. I've learned a lot working with Club MX this year as well, because they have you know, an actual training facility. So there's hopefully maybe we can, you know, merge or something like that in the future. But in all, like, I definitely want to keep growing that, as well as my parents owning Spring Creek MX Park. You know, that's something in the future for sure. So you may be seeing Jeremy and I around there for years to come.
So that's Alex's post-race plans, but you also saw Joey Savacci just absolutely eat it at the bottom of that downhill.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate to see. Hopefully he's okay.
Man, it's a rider just coming back from injury. We'll have a look again at 17. This is his second crash of the race from the drone.
Ooh, wow. Got into that soft spot at the end of that, the beginning of that dozer berm right there. That was a heavy hit.
Yeah, complete front flip. Oh, Sexton has wheeled Tomac back in. Not sure if that's a mistake by Eli or if Sexton has had things come together, but either way, the gap is down to nothing. Ah, so we were anticipating.
This is going to be a full gas run down the downhill. Here we go. Wow.
Woo, Sexton wants it, and he set himself up on the inside. I think he's going to get the lead. He's got it. Chase Sexton has overcome. No.
And Eli gets off the brakes.
Oh, Tomac, a big run around the outside. Too big of a distance, and Chase Sexton has done it. He's put the Honda up front. Well, you do not see this happen very often. Someone tracked Tomac down. We're entering the second half of this moto, and right now it's advantage Chase Sexton. Every moto that Tomac has led this year, he's won. So this will be the first time someone's able to turn him back. We're 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on motorcycle insurance with Geico. Eli's not going to take this one laying down.
No, absolutely. And if I was Eli right now, I'm like, okay, I just got past. We still got some time left in the moto. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to stay on his wheel, and we're gonna hook that rope up, and we're gonna pull on him. We're gonna see what we can do.
Oh, and he has picked up the intensity. This is the battle that everybody wanted to see. Points lead on the line. One of the tracks that both riders love, and they've had success here before, and they're about to duke it out. Tomac is back. And also, they're in different lines almost everywhere you look.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool to see these guys getting pretty racy, trying different stuff. Eli just got a great drive right there.
Sexton was able to get back to the inside.
What do you think?
Outside line for Eli.
Do you think he tries to jump this wall right here?
He set it up. Oh. No, he doesn't. Yeah, I thought that might have been what he was going for. All right, big moment right here. If Sexton could break away. I mean, that is easier said than done, of course, when you're talking about Eli Tomac. But he's going to go for it. Oh, and Sexton, that was beautiful getting into that rut and just powering out of that corner. And he's stretching a few bike lengths right now. Back down the hill, he's got about 10 bike lengths on Tomac. Ooh, and Tomac had to shove it into that rut.
He kind of dog paddled with his foot there to get through that rut for sure.
Yeah, we saw Jet Lawrence doing the same in that 250 first moto, just trying to get that front wheel where they want it. Look at this, Sexton stretching it. What a response on the track, but really for the big picture in the series for Sexton. You go out there and say the mission is to run down Eli Tomac. That is a tall task.
Hey, we saw in practice. You and I were watching him, Jason, and he had the flow, didn't he?
He was fastest in qualifying. That's what we were saying. But look, it's the one thing with Sexton, the riding style, it always looks good.
Yeah, he always looks really good on the bike, and Honda must have him pretty happy over there. He seems like he's really gelling with the bike, and like I kind of said earlier, he looks like he's on the best form he's ever been for outdoors.
Well, the consistency has been impressive. It's been first or second in every moto this year, except one fourth place finish. And I read a stat this week, credit to the at MX Reference is the Instagram page. Said Eli Tomac has scored more points in 6 rounds than any rider who's ever been second in the series.
Wow.
What that means is Tomac is on a torrid pace.
And the reason it doesn't have the points lead is because Sexton is that much better. It's the most points anyone has ever scored and sitting in second. So that's how good Sexton has been. Tomac's on the back foot right now. He's going to have to respawn. Sexton has pulled away. All right, we're going to be down to 10 minutes and 2 laps to go. And you watch Eli by himself, and he is absolutely hammering.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching him. I'm truly impressed by what he's doing right now. And for Chase to be inching away on him like that, you're just like, man, where is he making up the difference?
Yes, because he looks super fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure Eli's thinking the same thing too. Like, man, where can I be a little bit faster? Where can I make up the difference? I'll try to go maybe a little bit faster down Mount Martin, or like maybe carry a little bit more roll speed through the middle of the turn. So I'm sure Eli's running that stuff through his mind right now.
Well, just like in the 250 class, it's so close on speed between both Hunter and Jet Lawrence. And same thing we're seeing in this moto here. I got to imagine even just line choice is a huge part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been some stuff. I've done a race in the past, and I'm like, you bonehead. You know, I go back and look at the footage,
okay.
and I see the guy pass me, and I was like, why didn't I see that line?
So Tomac, but honestly, this is going to be his last chance to see those lines. Sexton's on the verge of being just far enough ahead where he will not be able to see him. Oh, and you hear him just light that thing up when he gets in the middle of a corner.
Yeah, that Yamaha has a sound, like you can hear it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I was back in those whoops watching the first qualifying session today. I could tell when Tomac was coming before I could see him. You just hear it. But as well as he is riding, Sexton has pulled away and now deep into lap traffic, and that's not doing Tomac favors. Can Sexton put an end to the win streak? And as it would say, straight up, he's had to catch Tomac and pass him. Can he hold him all the way to the end?
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Well, if you want to slay the dragon in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, you've got to be absolutely perfect. Chase Sexton was doing everything right, but you cannot put a wheel wrong in leading this sport. He did. Here's what happened, Jeremy.
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes down right here, and as you can see, it's just like the berm couldn't hold the speed he was carrying down there, huh, Jason?
Yeah, and there is Tomac getting by to take the lead. Sexton had done it. He had caught him, he had passed him, he had pulled away, and then he's just in a tough spot to get the bike back going. See, the jersey got torn up as well.
We have 7 minutes left. Can Chase get up there and remount a charge?
The crash was bad, but unfortunately it took him so long to get going because he was stuck in those ruts. So he's going to have some serious ground to make up now. That has got to be so frustrating. Well, I hear you riders say it every time. You try to take the positives out of it. He's going to be frustrated with the crash. Can he go back and say, look, yeah, I crashed. Yeah, I threw it away, but I had him. Can he get into that mindset and just focus on the good part? Absolutely.
I feel like Chase is he's pretty hard on himself. You can see it when he comes off the track. He's like, dang it, I made that mistake. But if I'm Chase, I'm going to be like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm pissed off at myself. But you know what? I had an epic battle going with Eli. I made the move on him. And then you know what? We're just going to keep moving forward. We got a second moto, and we're going to regroup.
Yeah, he knows he has the pace to do it. He was stretching it out. It's this area right here. So you can get a look.
He took it one line further out right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
All right, he switched the line. But we've seen several riders struggle with that entrance to those ruts there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious to see. It'd be cool to see a shot down there.
We're having some timing and scoring issues, by the way. That's why we can't show you the gaps. So we got people working on that. We can't quite show you the gap time-wise between Tomac and Sexton or the running order right now, but we know this much. Tomac was able to take over the lead when Sexton went down, and we saw Tomac almost do the exact same thing 3 or 4 laps earlier, send it down to Jason Thomas. More on Eli Tomac.
I spoke with Monster Yamaha Star Racing manager Jeremy Coker about that tire choice, and they knew it was going to be a compromise, but they felt this track specifically, the first lap positioning was way too important to lead to chance. They got the whole shot, they got out front, and now luck has smiled on them in a little bit with that Sexton crash.
Yeah, because we were theorizing that the tire choice is actually going to be to the better of Sexton. Rear tire wasn't a problem. That was losing the front end in those ruts. As you watch the ETS drone cam, and Tomac, he knows what to do when you hand him the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Eli's really good at managing a gap and managing a race.
Into the sand whoops. And he's got to manage the lap traffic as well. But we didn't even see Sexton in that shot, so Eli's got a huge lead right now.
A heck of a year for Star Racing, huh? They get the 450 program, and then Eli goes out, wins the championship in Supercross, and then he's got an epic battle going on with Chase Sexton for this outdoor championship. They're 1 point apart. Awesome battle going. And then, you know, Chase goes down, but, I mean, that's racing, and it's cool to see what Star has done with this program.
Well, this would, at the end of this moto, put Eli into the points lead. They already won this title last year with Dylan Fernandez, who, by the way, the team has said should be back for the last 4 races of the year. That'll be starting at Unadilla. Get the #1 plate out there to mix things up with this group. That's going to be exciting. Then Tomac goes out and puts this bike on top in Monster Energy Supercross. They are working on 3 straight 450 titles. Of course, Sexton is going to weigh in on this one. Does not want that to be the story. And he had done everything right, but one mistake, it comes undone. And unfortunately, that has been the story with Sexton a little less frequently now, but we have definitely seen it before. He tipped over while leading at Colorado, and he has been darn consistent between then and now.
And that's the thing about a championship. You've got 12 rounds, 24 motos. These guys are giving it everything they got from the minute the gate drops. And, you know, it's so hard to be perfect the entire season for every moto.
Yeah, we almost take it for granted when we watch veterans like Tomac out there. Very rarely, okay, he might have an off moto, but we don't see big crashes from him much. And you take that for granted, like you can do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we got a battle right here. Barsha and Plessinger. And Barsha getting aggressive. Talked to Barsha this morning. They've been all over the place on bike setup with that gas cast all year. He has gone back to what he ran in 2021. And then you made the point. He won this race a year ago. Not a bad move.
Yeah, if I was Barsha, I'd be going back to that old setting and seeing where all them clicker adjustments were.
That's right. He won this race a year ago. Let's see if Plessinger can fight back. Plessinger has some momentum after a overall podium and a moto podium last week at Southwick. But as I always say in motocross, the momentum is only as good as next week's start. And he started this race in 10th. Hard to make podiums out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are so good in this 450 class. You need to start with them. You need to run with them. And when you don't get a good start, like you said, you put yourself in a tough position.
Battling it out with Barsha right now. Barsha trying to get away from Plessinger, and has, at least for the moment, as we head into the sand whoops. Little combination here, jumping in. And we saw in qualifying, you get that first jump wrong, the entire section comes unraveled.
Yeah, it can make your life a little difficult for sure.
Yep, got to have the momentum coming in. Plessinger tries to reset and go back after Barsha.
Man, that looks like a tough landing there, doesn't it?
Oh, pretty harsh. And we were talking about efficiency earlier. That's got to be a lot of energy when you land hard like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're doing that for 30 plus 2, and you know they're definitely doing, I'd say, over, what do you think, over 12 laps at least?
Yep.
I mean, that's a lot of laps. You're just sitting there pounding every lap.
Remember the year, this is before your pro racing days, but your dad came up with the crazy idea of putting a radar gun back there? Remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are in Carmichael's days, and the only challenge left was to see how high on the MPH gauge he could get. I think he got it in the 60s or 70s back there.
You know, you watch these guys on TV, and you know that they're going fast and everything like that, but to see the speed, you know, how cool is that?
In person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The drone cam, we're giving you an angle we've never been able to give you before. As you see the top 5 running order right now, no changes. Anderson over Dungey and Craig, that's the way it's been for most of it, that battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As we go back to Eli Tomac in the lead. But yeah, when you see them go through there in person, it's unbelievable. This is Craig here. Solid run for Christian in the top 5.
He's having a great outdoor season.
Yeah, he was on the podium in the first moto last week at Southwick, and he admitted to me that took a lot out of him. He was running with the lead, trying to hold Tomac and Roxon off, and he said he was a little tired going into Moto 2, and you hear that more at Southwick than any other track.
Yeah, I can believe it. Southwick is very, very demanding. All the G-outs there and having to have the strength to hold yourself up and to carry the momentum over those G-outs and everything like that. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not afraid to admit I was tired by the second moto. I'm like, well, I got good news. You're not the first rider to tell me that the second moto you were spent at Southwick should be a little easier today. This track is rough, but Southwick is a whole nother level of rough compared to most of these tracks. And Craig looks good right now in 5th. And, you know, Dungey putting himself into 4th, you know he wants the podium today. Would rather have 3rd in that case in this moto, but he's at least in position if something unfolds the right way.
Yes, absolutely. Dungey's always been really good at that. He was always a great starter, always put himself in a good position. He capitalized on a lot of good things, and he also had just downright raw speed.
I think underrated the raw speed of Dungey because the consistency was always the headline.
Yes.
But worst case scenario, he was what, the 3rd fastest? It wasn't like Dungey had days where he was the 12th fastest guy ever.
Yeah, no, never. He was always right there.
Yep. We go back to Eli Tomac, who has about 2.5 laps to go. And it looked like the moto win streak, well, it definitely looked like it was in jeopardy. It looked like it was going to end because Sexton was putting him away. But you cannot make mistakes. It is such a challenge to go after this championship against a game rider who has won it 3 times. And that's what we're seeing right now. Sexton is great, but Tomac is so hard to beat in this series. And you've got to witness not just the great rides of Tomac here at the races, but you rode with him at his house for a long time. I'm sure you've seen some unbelievable things on the motorcycle.
Oh, yeah, he's done some things on the track that blow my mind. You know, like during the week, he's like, hey, you know, J-Mart, you don't have to go wide open every single time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, well, Eli, in order to keep up with you, it's everything I got, buddy. And then some more.
Yeah, exactly. Easy for him to say, right? Yeah. You also said your brother Alex got a good start last week and got to hear what it's like.
Yeah, so Alex got a great start at Southwick, and it was kind of funny because I got to hear Eli's side, and then I got to hear Alex's side. And Alex was like, dude, I was out of control the opening laps. Everything I had to stay up front. And he goes, and then Eli's like, hey, J-Mart, your brother was holding me up massively, and he was pissing me off. And Alex was like, he goes, I was over my head, wide open. And he goes, I wasn't going to drive over some of those braking bumps, but Eli, he was everything he had going wide open in places I wouldn't dream to be on the gas.
Wow.
He's like, just take the position, dude.
If you're going to go that fast, you can have it. So fans now starting to salute Tomac, looking for a 6th straight moto win. And that's what we're saying. When you get that kind of respect from your peers, other riders of your level, your brother's level, even you guys marveling at what this guy can do, that says a lot. Going to the top of Mount Martin, it'll be white flag next time around. Well, he weathered the storm. Sexton was all over him, got by, threw it away. And looking to take over the points lead if it ends like this.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And he's, you know, with Chase going down, he was able to kind of probably save some energy in this moto and kind of, you know, not have to expend. He's already probably thinking about Moto 2. You know, he's just got to get through these laps and then, yeah, get some good food in them and get ready.
Yeah, only have an hour between motos to do that. Let's give you the motosport.com whole shot replay before this one is over. It was Savachi battling for it. Anderson, a great jump, but it's going to come from the outside. Tomac and Savachi even further outside. They're going to give it to. They were telling me Savachi, that is so close in he and Tomac. They're going to go give it to the 17. Man,
that is close.
That's like a close call at first base. The umpire is there. But that was the gamble that this Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team was willing to take. Put the scoop tire on, great in a straight line. Gets Tomac to start, even though he didn't have the best jump. It looked like Anderson was a rocket out of the gate there. But Tomac able to not get the whole shot officially, but quickly wrestle the lead away from Savachi. And now he's just putting the finishing touches on it. Hey, shout out to Kyle Chisholm. Coming off the couch, racing with us today here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.
Yeah, I saw him signed up, and I was like, the Chiz.
Yeah,
how cool
man.
is that to see him? He's like normally the Supercross guy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him much as a full-time rider. He usually comes in as a national or two. So he decided to do this one just for fun. Got to go a lap down here. Kyle Chisholm and Garrett Marchbanks, who was off the track, off the start. He goes a lap down as well. And that's what we're talking about. You know, the fans will say lap traffic, just get out of the way, but
like Chisholm and Marchbanks are having a gnarly battle right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everybody's kind of got their own battle going on.
Yep, for them it means just as much as it does if it was Tomac or Sexton running up front. Marchbanks able to take the measure of Chisholm there. As Eli's putting it down, and he's not officially said it, but we believe next year he's probably going to ride Monster Energy Supercross only as he's beginning to wind down his career. So it could be the last time that the fans get to see him at these tracks. It could be the last time Tomac gets to see these tracks. So trying to savor it. And what a way to go out. If he does choose to make this his last season in motocross, he wants to make it a championship season. Sexton is not going to make it easy on him. Hey, good to see Savachi was back up.
Yeah, it's good to see him out riding around. You know, it's when you guys see a guy go down that hard, you hope he gets back up and he's able to remount and just keep it going.
Yeah, well, he is at least able to bring it to the finish. The 17. Not where he wanted to be though, because he started this race as he saw up front, but had 2 early crashes. Checkered flag is out. Eli Tomac, 6 straight Moto wins. Now including Moto 1 win here at Millville.
And that's a hard thing to do, to have 6 straight wins in this series in the premier sport.
With the kind of competition we've seen this year. Sexton second. Looking at Anderson here. He needed this. A couple of rough weekends, not because of lack of speed, but first turn crashes and almost anything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Anderson. He rights the ship.
Close.
He did keep charging there.
He was close. He was keeping it honest.
And we finally got timing and scoring back here. 3 seconds was the margin between Anderson and Dungey. And Dungey with a 2:17 in the last lap. Final margin victory for Tomac, by the way, over Sexton, 14 seconds. And the debrief with the team already begins. And the way this drill goes, I mean, you've been there, they only have an hour turnaround. So they get a quick briefing from the rider, and they take that bike away and already start making the changes. Meanwhile, Tomac's recovery begins, but it'll also meet us on the podium to talk about another Moto win.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With a nationwide network of parts and care, Napa helps you get up and go. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Back here to Spring Creek at Millville, Minnesota. Breaks between our first set of motos and our second set. We just wrapped up 450 Moto number 1. Eli Tomac coming out on top, but that doesn't really tell you the whole story. He had a fight on his hands from Chase Sexton. We'll show it to you with the Lucas Oil race recap. Jason Wygant and Jeremy Martin here. Off to a good start is Tomac at the number 3. He's just going to get edged out by Joey Savachi on the 17, the Monster Energy Kawasaki. Chase Sexton right in between them. Tomac into the lead early, and that is a big obstacle to overcome, but Sexton was game for that challenge.
Yep. He definitely put in a hard fight here. Unfortunately, you see Joey go down right here. He had another crash later on, but Sexton, how about that battle?
Yeah, he went for it. Ken Roxon, we're not exactly sure what happened here, but he had his problems early, pick himself up outside of the top 20. And would finish that moto, I believe, in 19th. Here's past the lead, Sexton over Tomac.
Yeah, amazing. Going down Mount Martin. These guys are fully on the gas. Tomac tried to hold him off. Chase got him.
So Sexton in the lead and starts to pull away, and then it comes undone right here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chase comes in heavy. Boom, blows the berm out with his front end. Eli comes in, takes over the lead.
Yep, thank you very much, says the number 3. And just like that, not just a moto win, but this is going to be enough to take over the points lead. Because he was down by 1 coming in. 3-point gap between a first and a second place finish. So that would give Tomac a 2-point lead as we are halfway through the day. So a whole nother moto for Sexton to get it right, try to get that red plate back. Send it down to the podium. Jason Thomas has Eli Tomac, your first moto winner.
Eli Tomac, you get the first moto win. Now it looked like you got the whole shot, and it looked like you're trying to make a break, and then you kind of maybe had to settle into a pace a little bit once Sexton got around you.
Yeah, I was going hard, and to be honest, it's almost like being in front. thought maybe hurt me a little bit. You know, Chase was able to try different lines. He was obviously riding really fast, but he had better lines and was opening up some turns and had some better momentum. So I realized that, though, after the fact, after he passed me. So it was a good learning moto. Obviously capitalize on his mistake. So go back, try to get a little bit better, and hopefully stay out front the whole time next time.
So I wanted to ask you about that scoop tire. You're one of the only guys, if not the only guy, that chose that. It obviously worked on the start. Did you feel like you had to be a little bit less aggressive on the racetrack because of that?
Well, to be honest, no. I've been comfortable with it, so I've been riding it with it a lot at home. My track even has some base, so it's working for me, and we're running it.
All right, so there we go. Giving it to bust that thing out for moto number 2. Eli Tomac, that's the new scoop tire, the MX14 from Dunlop. That actually just debuted for the public last week at Southwick. There are your results. Anderson over Dungey and Craig. So Anderson needed this one, man, to just right the ship after a whole bunch of rough motos. He's up on the podium. Let's send it to JT.
Chase Sexton, great ride. You make a little mistake there. It cost you. Your back is all torn up here, if we can show that. But, I mean, just an incredible pace until the mistake. Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I felt super good. I knew it was going to be a dogfight between me and Eli. I had some good lines and was able to get around him, and then just a small mistake over there. Tucked the front, and then the bike, I just tipped over, the bike came over and just clobbered me. So all good. Got to clean some stuff up, get ready for second moto, but overall we're good.
Well, there we go. That's trying to take the positives out of it. He's not in the dumps.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I thought, too. He's ready for a second moto battle and ready to charge.
Tell you what, it seems like every time Sexton hits the ground, he ends up taking a body blow or a shot to the face every time. This kid is tough. Here's your upcoming schedule in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, brought to you by motosport.com. We go to Washougal in Washington next week, and then a couple weekends off. And we'll be back for the stretch run, 4 rounds, Unadilla, Budds Creek, Ironman, and Pala, which is Fox Raceway 2. That's where we started the series as well. As they get this track ready for this second set of motos, a little rematch perhaps in the offing between the Lawrence brothers and Sexton and Tomac. But first, more talk from the podium with Jason Thomas.
Jason Anderson, a little bit of a lonely ride. Ryan Dungey was kind of lurking back there the entire time, but were you able to save a little bit of energy in that Moto 1?
Yeah, you know, I haven't been able to save much energy these previous Moto 1s at the races, so to come out here, get a good start, and just kind of ride in third place is nice. I just didn't have the pace for those guys, especially with you know, the conditions we had today, but you know, we got another moto. Let's see if we can put that Monster Energy Kawasaki up there and try and battle for a podium, and see if we can maybe even get a moto win. Thank you.
All right, that's Jason Anderson, who did get an overall win earlier in the year with a first and a third on the day. So that's what he'd like to aim for again. Here's our schedule of the next race. You can watch it on MAV TV or MAV TV on Flow Racing, the app. Yeah, we'll have our practice show on television on MAV TV for the first time. That'll be 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock local out in Washington State. And then 4 straight hours of coverage both on TV and then streaming with the MAV TV on Flow Racing starting at 4 Eastern, going through 8 Eastern. So that's our next race next Saturday, July 23rd from Washougal, Washington. Totally different type of track conditions there, but we are not done here. Halfway through the day at Millville, Minnesota. And don't forget to vote for Eli Tomac for the ESPY Award, Best Athlete in Men's Action Sports. You can scan that QR code right now. Jeremy Martin, you already weighed in?
Oh, yeah, I made sure I got in there right away. So all you fans watching and listening, tune in or not, or go vote.
Yeah, that's awesome for the sport right there if Tomac can get that award. We've seen motocross and supercross athletes win that before. This is really an interesting stat. If you look at how Tomac builds championships, this is motocross and supercross this year. Look at the scores through the first 12 main events or motos. It's almost identical.
Isn't that impressive?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it is. He starts off a little slow, and then he just really starts to build steam, it seems like, after the right at the 4th round there.
Yeah, and in supercross, of course, that led to a championship. The win streak came to an end. He did tweak his knee, and Anderson ended the year with a real flurry. But Tomac has put it together, but it is not going to be easy in Moto 2 for him because Chase Sexton is on his game today. Coulda, shoulda, woulda in the first moto for Sexton. We're looking forward to those two battling a little bit later. Other riders definitely want to do over when they had their problems in their first motos. Don't worry, we're only halfway through. Lots more racing to come your way from Spring Creek. But for now, we sing congratulations out to our first moto winner, Eli Tomac.